Okay guys, we're gonna go ahead and continue the to-do list app. And last time we talked about, we added an alert controller where we adding the name and the date and the type. We're gonna take the date out so it doesn't get too complicated. We're just gonna leave the name and the type. And also I initialize this struct to init so I can have an empty item. So let's go ahead. Another thing you can do is you can highlight the struct and press Control I, and that kind of makes it all clean and structured. So let's go ahead and add the items now. So I want to be able to, we added the text field and we added the placeholder for item name and item type, and we can call that item type here. And we cannot populate it here, so we don't populate it. We need to populate it inside the action. So let's go get those text fields. So I think the best thing to do is guard let, and we're gonna go ahead and get the text field of the alert controller. So we say alert controller. So we're gonna get the text for the first one. So we'll just say item name and say text field, alert controller, text field, and we're gonna have the first text field, and it's gonna be the text for that. And I'm gonna also need the type. So I'm gonna say type, item type equals alert controller, text fields dot. Also, that's gonna be the second, so it's at 0 base, so it's 1, and it's also dot text. Otherwise, return. Okay, so it's optional. So why is it not telling me dot alert controller text fields 0 dot text? So if something is optional, so what is it trying to tell me now? Okay, so optional. Oh, the text field was optional. I need to do that. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. So dot text. Alright. There you go. So we get the text field optional and the array is not optional. So we got the item name and item type, and all we need to do is take this item and initialize it here. We're going to use it, and it's initialized as empty, and we're going to go ahead and put it now. So item dot name equals item name, right? Item name and item dot type dot type. Okay, so the way we're gonna do it with this type is we need to make it a raw type, and we want it to make it a string, so it can take in a string and turn it into an enum. No, I'm sorry, not this one. I'm wrong. The enum needs to be a raw type of string. So we made it so this grocery, all this are strings now. So we can go ahead and when you put item type, I can have a raw type here. So let me go ahead and close. So it's item type. And the raw type is, it's going to say raw type is item type. could make this low like this. Okay, so that should work. And now we need to, so when we're adding it, we need to also item type. Alright, and also we need to initialize this list. It says increment argument, now it's going to fix it, raw value, okay. So we're good. And so what we're doing right now is whenever the person presses action, which is the action button, and we want the action button to say something, right? So we can say add items, and the alert controller should say add item. And so let's go ahead and initialize this list of items. So we need to initialize it inside the view. So let's go ahead and say list of items equals to empty array. So that initializes it, and we can go ahead and now add to it. So we need to, so once we get this action, let's go ahead and append to it. So say add items. So we're going to say list of items. Remember we learned appending, so we're going to append at the end of the thing a new list items item, because we already filled it up. And now we need to reload. So this is saying why don't you call self, because you're inside. So another thing we didn't learn is closures. Closures are basically callbacks. It's kind of like a block of code calling back to the function. It's returning all this block of code that back. So whenever you're inside that block, you need to call self. So if you call self, then you're good. But since you're in a block, you sometimes have a reference, memory reference, circle reference, so because it's pointing to that block is owning this object, and because it's owning the object, this object owns the block owns the object. So it's a circle reference. So we need to break that circle reference. In order to break it, we need to say weak self here like that. And we can just go through this, and then that's it. And what that means that now the self, which is self is actually the class. It doesn't own this closure. So that's why we have it as weak now. Alright, so go ahead, and once we add this items, we want to reload this table view, right? But the table view is not set up yet, so we need to set up this table view. So we want to return the list of items count, and if you don't have a count, return 0. So whenever you have two question marks, is if you don't have that, it's called nilsson operator. Nilsson operator means that if it's nil, so you use two question marks, and then you have what is gonna be happening if it doesn't have, so it's 0. And then now I have this cell here, but I want to get the, so what I need to do is right now, so we're gonna test it with one variable because we need to change the cell now. We have to use custom cells. So let's just do this for now, and so let's set up a list of items we have, and we want to get the index of the, so if we had like 3 items, then we want to get that index where that item resides, right? So if we say index path $row, so when if the list of items is 3 of them, right? So we want to get we want to loop through those items in the table view, and to get at that index, update that index on the table view, the same index, and then get that data for that index, right? So you're basically the way it works is, so you have the table view here, like let's say you have the table view, right? And then my data is an array. It's a zero based index, 0, 1, 2, right? So I'm saying at the 0 index, populate the table view with the 0th index data, and then at the first index, populate the table with the 1 index data. So that's why it says index path row, because I'm saying get the index path at the row for that table view, and basically get the list of items at that index path row of the table view, and assign it to the text label of that table view. So it's saying it's optional. So whenever it's optional, we can go and say if it doesn't have an index path, if it doesn't have that text, so we can just say, okay, just don't put anything, and that's it. And value item must be unwrapped. So our item, we can just do a guard let on it. Guard let item. So if we don't have item, just go and return it. Item equals list of items. List of items. List of items equals list of items. Else, we can actually just do this. You don't need to do that. So we do that, and that's it. So you're basically saying that whenever you have a question mark in front of it, and you're saying that if this item is cannot convert an item, that's like, so it doesn't need that. Okay, we didn't do it right, so we have to say dot name or dot type. So we just say dot name because we only have things. So we can also say cell dot text label detail text label dot text list of items index path row dot type. Okay, so basically what we're saying, the question mark dot type dot raw value. So this the reason I'm saying this question mark in after list of items is saying that if this list of items is nil, then don't get the name anymore. So you stop right here. And same thing here. So it's checking for null each time. It's checking to see if there's a value for it or not. If there's a value, then it keeps on going to type, and then if there's value, then it breaks the whole loop. It doesn't go, and so it doesn't break. It doesn't crash the system. So if you run this now, we should be able to add items. And this detail label, we need to change the way the cell is, so it doesn't. If I click on here and go ahead and click on here, so this cell type says alright, so here, so it's detail. Detail right here. No, I don't want accessory type. I want editing. Let's go to detail. Right detail. Alright, there you go. So that one will put in both sides with some kind of variable. So let's see, run it. Okay, so we didn't connect this the table view. Let's go connect that. So all you need to do is hold down Control. And no, wrong one. You need table view. So hold down Control and go like that. Let's say table view. Connect. And now we need to also. And what is this crash for? I leave this crash because we work together. This has not you can for key table view. Yeah, so what was that? So if we go and reload the table view after we add it, so we want to go ahead and reload it. So where is it? We're adding, getting items, add items. So we can add items right here and reload the table view here. Table view, reload data. After we've added items, so we call this, and that should do it. Alright, so add item now and add items. So let's go ahead and add grocery, add item. Okay, so probably because it's this is not initialized. Let's debug it, see what's going on. So let's see what's going on here. We're gonna learn debugging too if we do that. So we're gonna come here and we're gonna turn the cell. We don't have items yet. Oh, there we go. We have grocery. It arrived. So let's do another one. Hello. And there's no type, so I'm gonna do the type. Just now reloading the table. That's why it is. So we are getting the text field, okay? We're pending it, and we should reload it right after. Table view, reload, data, cell. Oh, that works. Okay, so now if I add, because it didn't add the type because it doesn't get detected, but if it adds grocery, it will add the type. And if I add So I have a bunch of type. I have shopping, so hello for shopping and shopping. So there you go. So it's adding all this type. And now if I want to remove it, if I'm done adding, because I want to be able to click out of it, so this, we reload the data and then we dismiss it. Better that way. We don't need to add that no more. So we add something and it dismisses. We add more. There you go. So it's adding, and now I want to slide it to remove it. So let's add that. So in order to do that, we need to say table view slide. So we'll do that next time. So let's finish this one.